The UK has a new Prime Minister that nobody voted for, installed by a Zionist shadow network that's taken control of the Labour Party. This is how we did it. At the start of the year, Starmer was still firmly our leader, with Andy Burnham blocked by Labour's ruling committee from standing for a seat in Parliament. Then, a month later, the machine that built Starmer, a think tank called Labour Together, started coming apart. Labour Together was funded by pro-Israel donor Trevor Chin, taking over £700,000 in secret donations, and was caught paying a PR firm to investigate journalists exposing it, in a mission codenamed Operation Cannon. Around the same time, the Epstein files exposed Peter Mandelson, the ambassador that Starmer's chief of staff, Morgan McSweeney, had pushed through, despite a failed security vetting. McSweeney resigned. Weeks later, Josh Simons, Labour Together's former director, resigned too. This was not enough to save public opinion, however, and by May, Labour had suffered its worst election results in a century. And so the machine began to change its mind about Burnham. The committee that blocked him in January waved him through in May. And on the same day, Wes Streeting quit the cabinet and Josh Simons vacated his seat to pave the way for Burnham. Then in June, Defence Secretary John Healey resigned too, warning that the Treasury was refusing to properly fund Britain's military. The very same Healey who had warned against a full arms embargo on Israel to protect Britain's F-35 supply chain to Tel Aviv. His resignation was the final nail in the coffin. Days later, Donald Trump announced on social media that Starmer would resign before any official statement. Wes Streeting stood aside and endorsed Burnham instead of running himself. And coincidentally, Israel lobbyist Trevor Chin put £12,000 in Streeting's account the day before Burnham's by-election. 379 MPs then crowned Burnham leader. Not one party member got a vote. Simons is now expected to run Downing Street's policy unit. Healey now runs the Treasury himself as Chancellor. Streeting is Defence Secretary, overseeing a ministry that has just handed Palantir £240 million, while Streeting's own donors include a hedge fund advisor whose firm holds $35 million of Palantir's stock. And running the whole of Number 10 is James Purnell, the former chairman of Labour Friends of Israel, who quit his job at a corporate lobbying firm days before taking the post. The payback has started immediately. Within days of entering Downing Street, Burnham phoned Trump and then approved American bombers flying from British soil. He also looks set to open the Rosebank oil field, where a fifth of the project is owned by a subsidiary of Israel's Delek Group, a company blacklisted by the UN for illegal settlements, which fuels the Israeli military and which has already taken over $1 billion out of British waters. It's as clear as day. Starmer became too unpopular to carry out the will of the Israeli lobby, so they replaced him with Burnham. Maybe that's why the building for his Number 10 North headquarters was leased by Manchester Council before he even became an MP.